everybody. My name is Chris Keekstra, and this is Ashley.
Yeah,
Deach.
hi.
And we're just got out of our board meeting for the month of, where are we? We're in August now?
August, yeah.
August already. And we had a very short agenda, but what happens when we have a short agenda?
It takes twice the amount of time.
Always. But we did get out a little earlier today than normal, but we had some great discussion.
Mm-hmm.
And my favorite discussions we have are when we talk about big picture things, see what everybody's thinking about things. And we were able to do that today because we had a short agenda.
Yeah.
And some of the things, I'll just talk about some of the things that came out of there, and you can talk about some too if you'd like.
Okay.
But one of the things that is really important to me is we're working on a salesperson class now. We have one that we've been putting on for the brokers. And so now we're looking at saying, okay, what items can we do that every salesperson needs to know? Not competitive advantage things like those things, but what does every agent need to know?
Right.
And a lot of the comments around the table is, oh man, we got a lot of new agents all the time. I can always tell when someone's new because they ask me lots of questions and those kind of things. And it's frustrating at times. But what can we do as GRAR? We do new member orientation, but what could we do next to give our members the best ability to do this business?
Right.
So staff is working on that. We may put a task force together for that, but that's what's coming up.
Yep.
And another thing that I'm passionate about is the data share. Trying to get as much data shared across Michigan for all the listings. So we're continuing to build relationships with other associations. And we're still working on that. It takes a long period of time, but it's just one of those things that has to happen.
Yeah, it's so important.
And the third thing from my point of view was the rules. We're trying to get the rules the same amongst all the associations in Michigan. We really only are talking to 4 right now. So encourage you, if you know of any other people from other associations around Michigan and they want to talk to us about that. We're not talking about fees or anything like that, but just getting common rules so that when you list a property and you see it on the MLS, they have the same rules about that, like contingent, active, pending, those kind of things. How long it needs to put on a listing to put a listing on the MLS, those kind of things. So working on that. So that's what other things that we took away. Any other takeaways from that discussion that?
I think that agent class is so great. Professionalism is key. So I'm also really excited about that. It's not just for new agents. So lots of people that just need a refresher in their business or just need to learn how our market's doing now. Maybe they've been out of practice for a little bit. So I think that's going to be awesome.
And we looked at some statistics on how many people sold houses so far of our membership. And we'll have to say we were a little shocked by that, weren't we? The looks around the table were like, oh.
It's not nearly as high as one might think.
No, so a lot of, the rule was always, 20% are doing 80% of the business?
Right.
I think that's changed. I think it's more like 10% doing 90% of the business now. And when we look at these statistics, we're like, how can we help people do a little better?
Yeah, we genuinely want people to be successful, right? So there's got to be a course of action to help them do that.
Correct. And then the other part was talking about promoting you guys' actions in the community. You guys are volunteering and doing all kinds of stuff in the community. How can we help promote what you guys are doing so the realtor community can be looked at as, hey, they give back to the community?
Right.
You have any
Well, I'm always curious to learn about organizations that I don't know much about or that I have never heard of, and people are so committed in our industry, which I love. So not only is it cool to learn about organizations I don't know about, but to get involved in other ways. So we'd love to know what you're doing and how we can help.
And that doesn't mean that we're going to put our logo on what you're doing or things like that. It's just say we want to promote what you guys are doing
and show to the community that we're involved.
Because I know in my office, and I see a lot of offices, people are doing lots of stuff for the community, and they don't want recognition for it necessarily, but
we do want to recognize the organizations.
Yes, and we want our customers to know, hey, we're not just the people who are helping you buy, sell houses, we're volunteering in the community also.
Right, yeah.
So, all right, the nitty-gritty stuff we got into as the board from committees and such. The chapters have met again this past month. Every time a chapter meets, I get excited because this is something that as we're working to expand our organization and help the people maybe on the outskirts of our association to have a better say in what's going on. And so every time I see a chapter meet and I see some of the things they talk about, it's like, oh yeah, I would have not thought about talking about that, but yes, in that area, that is an important thing. And so I know the Vice chapter had a good meeting, and some of the topics they talked about, it's like, yeah, I would not have thought of that. So
Right.
that's what our chapters are for, to make sure that they bring the board of directors and all of GRAR in touch with what's going on in their areas.
Right.
So
Yep.
GRAR West is starting to grow, working on some stuff for that. And then we're working on the Montcalm area chapter and more of the northern part chapters coming up soon. So when we have time, we're going to get working on that. And as I said before, if you want to get involved in that, let us know, and because we need people that are really passionate about those certain areas.
Right.
So SentriLock and Supra, the amount of issues is starting to go down. Overall reaction to that has been fantastic.
Yeah.
It's always a learning curve. I know for me, it was just like, okay, I don't know how to quite know how to use some of this stuff. But as I learned, it's, you just got to learn how to do it.
Yeah,
just
change
like
is scary,
everything else.
but the SentriLock change has been so great. GRAR did an awesome job, and I think most everyone can agree it's been pretty easy.
The one tip I'll give you is, if you can't communicate with the box for some reason, exit out of your app. Totally. Not just back out of it, but exit out of your app completely.
And then restart it.
And then restart it again, and it always connects again. So
Good to know.
that was one of the things I learned. I was struggling with that for a while,
Good to know.
because I would always back out and then I'd close all, go back in, and work fine.
Okay.
So I think you are working on something with the seller's disclosure.
I am. I've been really passionate about the seller's disclosure form lately, which is sort of an odd thing to be passionate about, but I've taken it on. I just care so deeply about informing our consumers, and it's on both sides, informing our sellers who are selling their home and the buyers who are buying it. And I've seen a lot of incorrect seller's disclosure forms. And I just feel like we're doing everyone a disservice by maybe not knowing how to fill it out correctly, or just posting it because you don't have time, or it's half filled out. So aside from actually filling it out, I've also taken on looking at the actual form and perhaps changing some of the items that are on it. Now, it's a state form. It's actually not a GRAR form. So those
we
that
can't
don't know
change it.
that, right, it's not just a GRAR decision. So we take it to the state, and there's a lot involved with that, but I'm ready to do it. So some of the things on the form that maybe don't need to be on there, or maybe later in the form, things like trash compactors, things like TV antennas, things that just aren't found commonly in homes anymore. Also, items that we should add are maybe things like home security devices, smart devices. It doesn't disclose the age of the water heater or the age of the air conditioning unit, things that buyers want to know. Those are regular questions we get, and it's imperative that we provide that information to them. So I'm working really hard. If you're interested in helping us change that form, or you have any comments on it, I'd love to hear from you, so you can reach out anytime. But I'm really hopeful that we can make a good impact by making some changes.
So we have a forms committee, but the forms committee can do nothing with the
Right.
seller disclosure, because it's legislation.
Right.
It's in the law what can be on there. And so the only way you can change that is to actually have the
Change.
legislative body of Michigan go
Right.
through and change that.
Right.
So it would take a law that has to go through both houses and then passed by the governor
Yep.
to make this happen. So
Right.
thank you for taking this on.
We can do
It's
it.
a big thing to take on, but I think one of the things that's going to happen is GRAR will have to get on board with it, whatever decisions you make, and then we're going to have to go to all our members and say, you need to go talk to all your representatives in the state.
Right.
And I think that's what it's going to take eventually. That's
Right.
probably the final step to get it passed, will be asking all of you to go out to your representatives and say, you need to pass this.
Yeah, it can only help. Again, I know it seems a little boring maybe, but it's imperative. We have to change the form, and we have to know how to do it to the best of what our consumers can do. So, yeah.
Yep. I know the Forms Committee a few years ago, we added a couple things on there. I think it was internet or something like that.
Right.
And we're like, we're not really supposed to do that because it's not in the law. So I remember those things were taken out. I don't know if everybody remembers that, but
Yeah. So Doug Merriam's been super helpful with that. Of course, he's our political guy. What's his correct term? Director, thank you, from behind the camera. Obviously, he's so helpful, and so it's been sort of a joint effort, and he's really been advocating for us to push this and do it the right way. So hopefully, we'll have some more news soon.
awesome. Well, thank you very much. It's been another month, and we look forward to seeing you next month. And if you have any questions in the meantime, please let us know. Thank you very much.
Thanks.